let me just read you one paragraph, one sentence even, from the Sunday Times yesterday, who have been working with Channel 4's Dispatches programme on an investigation into what they call the Duchy files. It's just, it is truly extraordinary. Over 5 months, we identified 5,410 landholdings, mineral rights and properties held by the Duchy of Lancaster on behalf of the King and the Duchy of Cornwall for the Prince, and then examined business agreements and leases linked to these plots. I've lost the room, right? That's quite dull. Sounds a bit dry. What's he doing? Just listen to this sentence. These contracts show the duchies generate profits by charging the army, the navy, hospitals, the prison service, schools and councils for the right to use lands, rivers and seashores seized for the duchies in medieval times. I have absolutely no idea what the phone-in is going to be today, but I felt that this was a story of such remarkable relevance to so much that we talk about together that it would be profoundly remiss of me not to discuss it today. These contracts show the duchies generate profits by charging the army, the navy, hospitals, the prison service, schools and councils for the right to use lands, rivers and seashores seized for the duchies in medieval times. The Duchy of Lancaster raised, wait for it, £27.4 million for the King last year alone, while the Duchy of Cornwall raised a cool 23.6 for his oldest son, and this allows them to pay for their private homes, their personal income and their staff. The annual declaration includes only very, very basic details of assets and activities in annual reports. I'll give you an example. Duchy of Lancaster has a deal with Guy's and St Thomas's NHS Trust in London that will charge the NHS. Think about the budget and the importance of raising more money for the NHS. The Duchy of Lancaster, as in the King's side hustle, will charge the NHS £11 million over the next 15 years for the right to park ambulances in one of its warehouses. The Duchy of Cornwall, which is Prince William's side hustle, receives rent for Dartmoor Prison in a contract under which the Ministry of Justice will pay £37 million. The reason I say I don't know, people are telling me not to forget the RNLI. I might allow a caller to bring that particular element of the story to our attention, because it's one of those stories that is almost impossible to get a proper grip on. The royal family are sold to us as paragons of patriotism, right? They are the very pinnacle of national pride. You cannot criticise the royal family without running a risk of being treasonous or being accused of treachery. So I don't know how naive it is to therefore presume that they would do more than everybody else to uphold the sort of values and indeed institutions that we consider to be crucial to our national infrastructure. I don't know off the top of your head what sort of institutions you'd put in that category. How about the army, the navy, hospitals, the prison service, schools and councils? You see, this is probably the best way to convey the size of the story. So I read out those things and you see people and you see organisations that are dedicated to the public good, right? The army, the navy, hospitals, schools, councils, even the prison service. You make a list of those things and ordinary people see them as things that we have to pay for the public good. Things that I suppose in a slightly less bent country we'd be proud to pay for. I'm glad that my taxes go towards the Navy. I'm glad that my taxes go towards the Army, the NHS, the education system, even the prison service. These are things to which we contribute in expectation of a return, should we ever need them, or a social benefit, should we not ever need them. King Charles and his son look at those organisations as profits, as potential profits. How much money? Do you think they compare notes over Christmas lunch? How much money did you make out of the NHS last year, Pops? It's just extraordinary. At least I think it is. I need to give a quick shout to my mum, actually. I to tell her that she's not actually going mad. I spoke to Mum on Friday after the show, and she said, I saw you on telly last night. And I said, no, you didn't. She said, you were in that Prince William homelessness documentary. I said, no, I wasn't. I categorically would remember if I'd contributed to a Prince William. And poor old Mum, she'd be sort of nodding off in front of the telly, began to wonder whether she'd dreamed the whole thing. It turns out I was in it. And I should have known. I was told about it months ago. But just a little clip of me reading out something from the chap that runs Republic, Graham, who runs Republic, and just pointing out that there's something, what's the word I want? There's something incongruous. That's a nice word, isn't it? There's something incongruous about Prince William, laudable though the impulse is, tasking himself with solving homelessness when he is taking £23.6 million from a duchy that generates profits by charging the army, the navy, hospitals, the prison service, schools and councils for access to property seized by his ancestors in medieval times. The other reason why I said I wasn't quite sure what phone-in we were going to have today is because I don't know quite what to say next. I don't want to draw too heavy parallels with Trump. But when you listen to Trump supporters and you realise there's nothing he can do that would shed support. Remember, he said himself, he understood this in a way that I don't think normal people ever could. He could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote. I have a slightly unhealthy fascination with how far capped offers, forelock tuggers and client journalists will go to defend the indefensible. I'm not quite sure how you'd how would you even begin to defend this in a country that we've, if we didn't know already, then we've learnt since the budget last week, is in dire need of financial injection, dire need of public service spending, to discover that the people for whom we wave flags whenever they get married or have a baby are, siphoning epic sums of money from institutions and organisations which we support by either paying tax or donating. That's the bit I can't get my head around. Every single institution on this list, we support by either paying taxes or donating on our taxed income to charities like the RNLI. And these guys, they take money out of it. Now, I've told you before, and I will tell you again, historically, I'm not very good at royal phone-ins. But there have been some exceptions, I guess, in recent years. The old adage hasn't proved as true, or the old tradition hasn't proved as true. But I think this might be why, because this is so obviously egregious that you almost can't go there. This is an inequality so baked into our society that you can't quite imagine anything ever being different. Do you see what I mean? It's as if you're being presented with something so utterly hideous. Institutions that we support by paying tax and making donations. The king and his son are milking on an annual basis in return for an ancient privilege stolen during medieval times. And I wonder whether deep down we all know what the royal family represents. You know that hymn I got obsessed with a few years ago? Not the hymn itself, everyone likes all creatures great and small, but that little verse that no one knew about, or that we'd all forgotten about. The rich man in his castle, the poor man at his gate, God made them high and lowly, and ordered their estate.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Harry and Meghan tales. Today, we're delving into a breaking investigation that sent shockwaves through the UK and beyond. A 5-month joint investigation by the Times and Channel 4's dispatches has unveiled some shocking details about the finances behind the Duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall, overseen by King Charles and Prince William. Buckle up, because this story challenges the image of sustainability and transparency the monarchy often portrays. The British monarchy, a symbol of tradition and history, but behind the grandeur, questions arise. How are they funded? The Times and Channel 4's dispatches investigated. Their findings: royal finances are more complex than many realise. The investigation revealed lucrative deals involving the NHS and the military. This sparked a debate about transparency and fairness. The public deserves to know. How are their taxes used? Are these deals benefiting everyone? These are questions we must ask. It's about accountability, It's about public trust. At the heart of this issue lie two entities, the Duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall. These historic estates have been integral to the British monarchy for centuries, serving as both symbols of heritage and sources of substantial revenue. These vast estates generate significant income for the monarchy, contributing to the financial stability and opulence of the royal family. The income derived from these lands is used to support various royal activities and maintain the grandeur of the monarchy. The Duchy of Lancaster, a portfolio of lands, property and assets, dates back to the 13th century. It encompasses a diverse range of properties, including agricultural land, commercial buildings and residential properties, all of which contribute to its substantial income. It provides income for the reigning sovereign, ensuring that the monarch has a private source of revenue independent of public funds. This financial independence allows the sovereign to undertake personal projects and support charitable endeavours. The Duchy of Cornwall, established in the 14th century, benefits the heir apparent. This estate is specifically designated to provide income for the Prince of Wales, supporting his official duties and personal expenses. These duchies operate separately from the sovereign grant, which is the public fund allocated to the monarchy for official duties. The separation ensures that the income from the duchies is managed independently and used for different purposes. The sovereign grant is the public fund used for official duties, such as state visits, public engagements, and the maintenance of royal residences. It is funded by taxpayers and is subject to public scrutiny and accountability. The duchy incomes are considered private, allowing the royal family to manage these funds without the same level of public oversight. This distinction between public and private finances is a key aspect of the monarchy's financial structure. However, their use directly impacts public perception. The way the royal family manages and utilises these private funds can influence public opinion and raise questions about transparency and accountability. This raises questions about the boundaries between public and private in royal finances. As the monarchy continues to evolve, the balance between tradition and modern financial practices remains a topic of ongoing debate and scrutiny. The investigation uncovered deals between the duchies and public services. The Duchy of Lancaster, for example, rents land to NHS facilities. It receives millions in rent annually. The Duchy of Cornwall benefits from agreements with the military. These deals raise concerns about potential conflicts of interest. One example involves a military training ground. The Duchy of Cornwall receives payments for its use. This raises the question, should public services contribute to private royal income? Furthermore, the Duchy of Lancaster holds investments in offshore companies. This lack of transparency fuels public concern. Section 4. Tax breaks and transparency concerns. The Duchy's tax exemptions are a point of contention. They are exempt from certain taxes levied on businesses and individuals. This raises questions about fairness. Why should these royal estates enjoy exemptions unavailable to others? Critics argue for greater transparency. They demand a clear understanding of how these funds are used. The lack of transparency fuels suspicion. It creates a perception of privilege. This stands in stark contrast to the financial realities of many Britons. The public deserves a clear account of royal finances. Transparency fosters trust. It demonstrates accountability. Section 5. A royal cut-off, Prince Andrew's financial fate. Adding another layer to this complex issue is the case of Prince Andrew, whose financial situation has recently come under intense scrutiny. King Charles, in a decisive move, recently stopped his brother's annual stipend, a significant financial lifeline for Prince Andrew. As a result, Prince Andrew is no longer receiving funds from the Duchy of Lancaster, a major source of income for many senior royals. This decision follows a series of controversies and scandals that have surrounded the prince, casting a shadow over the royal family. The move can be seen as an attempt by King Charles to protect the monarchy's reputation and distance it from negative publicity. It demonstrates a willingness to take action, even when it involves close family members, highlighting a new era of accountability within the royal household. However, this decision also raises important questions about the use of duchy funds and the financial responsibilities of the royal family. Should these funds be used to support members of the royal family who are not undertaking official duties? This is a question that has sparked considerable public debate. The situation further emphasizes the need for clear guidelines and transparency in the financial dealings of the monarchy. As the public demands more accountability, the royal family must navigate these challenges carefully to maintain trust and support. The financial fate of Prince Andrew is not just a personal issue, but a reflection of broader changes within the monarchy. It highlights the evolving expectations of the public and the pressures on the royal family to adapt to modern standards of governance and transparency. As the monarchy continues to evolve, the handling of such sensitive issues will be crucial in shaping its future and ensuring its relevance in a rapidly changing world. Section 6. Balancing tradition and public interest. The debate surrounding royal finances is not about abolishing the monarchy, it's about finding a balance. How can centuries-old traditions coexist with modern-day values of transparency and accountability? The monarchy holds a special place in British society. It represents history, tradition, and national identity. However, it must evolve to maintain public trust. This requires open communication. It demands a willingness to adapt to changing societal expectations. The monarchy must be financially transparent and accountable. This is essential for its future. Section 7. A time for openness and reflection. The revelations about royal finances are a catalyst for discussion. They open up a dialogue that has long been simmering beneath the surface, bringing to light questions that many have pondered, but few have openly addressed. They prompt us to reflect on the role of the monarchy in the 21st century. In an era where transparency and accountability are highly valued, the financial dealings of the royal family come under scrutiny, urging us to consider their place in modern society. What do we expect from our royal family? Beyond the pageantry and tradition, what responsibilities do we believe they should uphold? Should they be symbols of unity and continuity, or active participants in the nation's governance? How should their finances be managed? Should there be more transparency in how public funds are allocated to the monarchy? These questions are not just about numbers, but about values and principles that define our society. These are questions for every citizen to consider. In a democracy, the voice of the people is paramount, and it is through collective reflection and discussion that we can arrive at a consensus. This is not about judging or condemning. It's about understanding and evolving. It's about recognizing that institutions, like individuals, must adapt to changing times and expectations. It's about engaging in a healthy debate, a debate that is respectful and constructive, where differing opinions are heard and considered. This dialogue is essential for the growth and maturity of our society. It's about ensuring the monarchy remains a source of pride, not controversy. The royal family has the potential to be a unifying force, a symbol of national identity and continuity, but this can only be achieved through transparency and accountability. Let us approach this issue with open minds and a commitment to finding solutions that benefit the nation as a whole. By fostering an environment of openness and reflection, we can ensure that the monarchy continues to evolve in a way that aligns with the values and aspirations of the people it represents. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and stay engaged.